I'm bowing to the light in the circle. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you for being here. I'm just so inspired to see our little thing happening here in Toledo. And I'm just going to introduce Shirley because you can run whenever you need to. But Shirley is one of the real rooted yoga teachers here in Toledo. She's been teaching for over 30 years.
Almost 40 years, yes. Yes, a long, long time.
40 years. And
yes.
When I brought Larry here for the first time, which is really the reason we're here together, to really honor a great teacher and the founder of It's Yoga, Shirley kind of re-entered my life. I knew her from my family, from my upbringing, and when she came back, I had no idea she was this incredible yoga master. Look at her face. It's like so beautiful. And when Larry came, I know that you guys have a little history too. Want to share that?
Yes. I met Larry quite a few years ago at the first Midwest Yoga Conference. Johnny Kest brought him in, and I talked one of my friends into coming with me who was an anesthesiologist, and she just wanted to get out of Toledo for a while. So I took her up to Ann Arbor with me, and it was the first time they had ever had a conference up there. And it was on the campus of U of M, and it was scattered all over. And we had to run from building to building carrying all of our yoga gear. And so it went on for 5 days, and it was probably, I think, the first day that we met Larry, and we were the two oldest people in the class. And so at the end, I went up to him and I said, I really want to compliment you, because I felt that if I had fallen flat on my face on my mat, you would have come over, stood over me and said, you know, you did that very nicely. And he was so excited. He said, oh, I can't believe that you picked up that I try to be a very nurturing teacher. And so he was really, really happy that I had noticed that. And he was a very, very devoted teacher, very nurturing, and always sought to do the best for everyone.
Yeah.
And then when Larry and Marie came to town one time, my husband and I took them out to dinner at the Real Seafood downtown. And I remember that so vividly because we were sitting across from each other, and Larry looked at me and he said, did you ever think when we first met that we would be sitting across the table from each other having dinner in Toledo? And I said, no. And so he was wonderful, and I think all of you are very fortunate that you have his grace and his spirit and the lineage. Mm-hmm. And it's just very, very wonderful. And I wasn't planning on staying because my husband and I were going to take someone out to dinner this evening, but I just felt compelled to just come and be here for a little bit in honor of his memory. And so I wish you all a great practice, and I know Larry's looking down and smiling at all of us and inspiring all of you. So just keep going, and the rocket will get you through everything. So, yes, so I just...
Namaste, thank you.
Yes, so
thank
take
you very
care.
Much. Thank you.
You too.
Have fun.
Yes, and Mom Karen. And yes. Yes, and you, young man. Yes.
Okay.
Take care.
Tell me the restaurant's name.
It's like,
Oh, yes, sure. How are you?
so
My student and I are taking some time to do that. So take care.
bye. Thank you, Shirley.
Take care.
Would you like to introduce yourself? I mean,
Sure.
what your story is.
Yeah, my name's David, and I drove up from Columbus this afternoon because I too had the honor of knowing Larry a long time ago, and many times Larry would come to Columbus and spend a 4 or 5 day stint with my wife and I, and Laurel had It's Yoga in Columbus. And
She was my first yoga teacher ever.
yeah, and Larry kind of kicked off he would come in for a new teacher training and do like a 5-day, and so Larry would come to the house and he would pontificate, and Larry would blow my mind and all of the world of yoga, because I was kind of in the business world and just kind of doing this yoga thing a little bit, but really had a great connection with Larry, and why not? I mean, everyone who met him did. Just the greatest guy in the world. And so when I saw the email just a couple days ago, I'm like, I've got to go. I've got to come up, because I am actually redoing my teacher training with my wife now in Columbus. I did a teacher training in '01, and then never taught, never went out and took it, so I'm kind of redoing it. And I shared with Maria that I get on my mat and think of Larry just about every day, because I do the Rocket One at home. That's my home practice, and he's my inspiration. So it's a great system.
Thank you. It is a great system, and I think it's interesting now that he's gone and we have all these new students that might not meet Larry and think we're kind of in this weird, why does everybody love Larry so much? Like, who is this person that created this rocket ship, and all these kind of metaphors that we use and the way in which we share the practice. I think it's important to just remember that even though you didn't know him, or if you knew him or didn't, it really doesn't matter. I think that he lives through this practice. So we've been listening last couple days, some friends from San Francisco and around, they sent me this link, and it's so powerful. I know you heard some of it, and I'll share it here and there. I didn't know if it would be a little weird to hear his voice. I mean, we're already a little going for it, but at one point he does talk about that. The interviewer says, well, who's your teacher? He said, well, for the last 23 years, who's the person I spent the most time with? Who's my teacher? And It's Yoga was my teacher. And I am my teacher, and the inner teacher is what guided him and really led to this practice and this experience. So now that you're here, thank you for being here. And just remember that it lives through you, and it's in the breathing, and it doesn't matter if you know the teacher or not. I was really lucky because I knew the teacher. You knew the teacher. Makes it a little bit harder now that he's gone. Yesterday someone said to me, Katie in San Francisco said, laughing with heavy hearts. She said, I can't stop laughing with a heavy heart. So, and I thought that was such a wonderful way of remembering someone that meant a great deal to me and to many of us. And even now, I mean, it means something to you, and you don't even know what you're doing here. She made you come. Marie Beth, you want to share any stories?
Larry loved to call me Maribel.
Maribel.
Because he knew that I was like, come on, you know my name. But it was just his way of secretly messing with me. Larry was a great teacher. And he was a good friend for the short time that I know we had fun. And I secretly think that I talked him into moving to Toledo.
It's probably true.
Wink, wink. But Larry's awesome. It's always the root of my practice too. I think about things that he said during the training, and it keeps me going. I remember.
Yeah, really captivating person.
Yeah.
Even in this interview for 45 minutes, I was just like,
he always liked to make it a light situation too.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
always funny.
It was always funny. It was always, don't take yourself so seriously. We're the last to know what's going on. That was one of his great lines. I'm the last to know what's going on. So relax and breathe, go with it. And so many good things around teaching. So we have Lee and Ryan, these kind of budding It's Yoga trainers. It's so inspiring, really. So, shall we do the rocket? Anyone else want to share anything? New members? So glad you're here. Michael. Michael, when I see Michael, I think of, you really remind me of Larry a lot. Maybe it's the same age group or the same something. There's like a strand of your DNA that's very much.
Very Larry.
Very Larry, very funny, very Meshuggah. All right, anybody else before we move? Do some rocket for the yoga man?
I only knew Larry here and there, bits and pieces. But I think of him when I hear someone say, "You're doing great." It was like something, if ever anything was going on or people started freaking out or stressed, he'd look at them and he'd say, "You're doing great." I think that's really powerful, and I think about it a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. You're doing great. It's true. We are. And I love that he said that.
Yeah, me too. He was really like that. I mean, there was some Meshuggah there, but for the most part, like he was really like, "You're doing great. I need to relax. What's your problem today? You know, what problems do you have? Did you write it down? You know?"
Did you write it down?
He said to me, one of our last, he was in Thailand. He said, "You better get ready." I have it on a recording actually, because I was leaving Thailand and coming back here. We were going to buy this house. We were moving to Toledo, and I'm like, I can't believe we're going to do this. And everything was kind of closing up shop in California, and I was really stressed because I was leaving and flying like 10 airplanes. And he said to me, "You better get ready." I'm like, "For what?" I know, I'm packing up. He's like, "There's going to be a time when I'm not going to be with you, kid. You better get ready." And I think about that especially in days like today when there's a workshop or there's this expectation or we're doing a presentation or something, and I'm like, well, Larry will take care of it. You know, he was the one who was the teacher. I mean, he was the one who had the personality, who did the fun, he was socializing. "Hey dude, come on, relax, let's smoke a joint. It's going to be okay." He did all that stuff. And so now it's really up to you and you and you and me and you to kind of show up and be the love, be the life, be the fun, and that's really where the work of the practice is. The maintenance of practicing something like yoga. You know, it's fun for an hour, but it's like, oh, I'm going out to lunch. Can I really have the burger if I have practice in 3 hours? Not really. It starts to change things, right? You wanted it to.
Double wimpy.
He's gonna go have it right after.
Yeah, lots of gratitude.
Good. I'm a lot newer than most to It's Yoga, but I think the first place that I ever did yoga was at It's Yoga in Columbus. Probably back in 2001 or 2.
Which is when I rolled in, too.
In 2003, I lived in New York and became a yoga addict. I was doing it 4 or 6 times a week, as many times as I could do it. And then I came back to the Midwest, and for 10 years I've been searching for sort of yoga home. And this is the first time I've come to a place where I felt that.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Because that's really what it's about. It's about a family, it's a community. We want people to come in, I mean, all these lines. Come in feeling one way, you leave another. Remember that one? Yeah. Having a metaphor, making friends. You know, don't you want to be friends with Lee? I mean, like, she's so lovely. I mean, don't you want to be her friend? Why wouldn't you be? I mean, look at Sarah. Sarah can do crazy moves. She's only been with us for 6 months, has it been?
Almost a year.
No.
I think in May or June.
Wow.
It'll be a year.
She's a major transformation through yoga. Handstands.
Yep. Love it.
Ay, ay, ay. Anything else? This is what we do in teacher training, so if anyone wants to do the training, it's a little bit more structured, but it's kind of like
really,
this.
really fun though.
It's really, really fun. Anything else before we do it? Well, it's really interesting that he kind of landed the rocket ship here. And every time I get really like, oh, the weather, I don't want to be here, or there's no mountains, or all that stuff. I just remember that, you know, there's a reason for everything, and to be where you are fully is important. And it's an ongoing lesson, I think, that Larry taught us. He kind of strolled in, he dropped me off, and then just like checked out, which is pretty cool. I mean, rock and roll. 1, 2, 3 switch, all those lines. Oh, another It's Yoga baby. The judge. Oh, the back door's locked. It happened. It's okay. Anything else?
You're doing great.
Oh, thanks. Karen knows. I mean, it was like major shift. Everything was one way for 7 years, and then it was just another way. What did Katie said? She said life after Larry, LAL. It's like life after Larry, because he was such a presence, like such a, wasn't he?
He was.
Major. We're lucky. I hope all of us, you know, have a bit of that. You know, that's what I want for It's Yoga's, you know, characters. Like, let's be the best thing that we can be, the best person we can be, the best yogi we can be, the best boyfriend, girlfriend, brother, sister, mother, judge. Come on in the circle. Gee, we're about to wrap it up.
Another cool thing that Larry said in that interview was about, you know, even there's like, you know, I never met Larry, but I feel like I know him. I feel his presence often. And one of the things he says in the interview is, you know, we all, like his teachers, Krishnamacharya, he never met the guy, but in a sense, every time we step on our mat, we're carrying on the spirit of this lineage through us with each breath that we take. Yeah, and to acknowledge that is really interesting. Breathing the same air that Larry did, Kavi did, Krishnamacharya did. Breathing it in from the back out.
We call them the godfathers. The godfathers of yoga.
Smoking air cigars.
Yeah. Viewing yoga through a Western perspective was really his thing too. You know, that we're Westerners, you know, you're gonna eat burgers, you're gonna drink beer, like you're gonna do your life. We're not Indians, you know. We don't sit like this normally. It's a little bit hard. How are your knees? Pretty good.
Extremely hard.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is teacher training. The hardest part is sitting on the floor for 3 hours a day, you know. Right? Isn't it? Teacher training?
Especially if your external rotation isn't that good.
Look at you.
Now you got it.
So, how this practice can work for you, what it's about. You know, it's not so physical. I mean, it's physical, but it's more, right, G?
Indeed.
Look at how lovely she is. Oh my gosh. Seriously. She loves It's Yoga too. You're like the biggest It's Yoga fan, I think, in Toledo.
I'm addicted, but it's a good addiction.
All right. So, what else?
Let's do yoga.
Okay. Let's do this thing that we do. Let's do it.